webcam, give you a brand new type of whiteboard and a new approach to lesson planning. All this with just a Mac, iPhone and iPad. Hi, this is Squares TV App Lab number 97. We're getting up in the high numbers, where we talk about ways to improve your remote communication abilities. This is a lab on after hours. Hey, I can move away today because I've got this. This is a lab on after hours and going out live on YouTube. I'm Michael Forrest. I make things like video pencil, shoot, CueCam presenter, among artistic projects like this. So I'm excited to show you how to get started with your remote teaching, but first we'll do some quick updates. So shoot yesterday this week got a 4K fix. So it turns out I broke 4K in shoot when I was working on vertical video a few weeks ago. Literally, I kind of refactored where the screen resolutions were into one place, but I actually put the wrong number in for 4K. And I've been getting this trickle of emails, but I just realized, oh God, I went in and saw it. Thankfully, it didn't take me too long to find, because that would have been a really hard one to find otherwise. But I was debugging it and I suddenly just noticed those numbers didn't match. I was like, okay. Oops. So that's gone out live. So if you've been having trouble with 4K, that's now fixed. New CueCam, it's coming, right? I've been mostly hammering away at the new CueCam release for the last couple of weeks. I'll share my current to-do list. So we've got some bugs to fix, which I have been collecting. I've revamped my bug tracking process so you can report them directly through the app. They go into Discord. I can mark things as done and can keep you posted on when the changes are going to come in, what build the new changes are going to come into, all that kind of stuff. So, and I've got that coming into my reporting backend as well. So I can really sort of prioritize and see what's going on. But actually, in terms of time spent on the bugs, that's been taking a little bit of a back seat to video production this week, because we are going to Italy tomorrow for a few days to see my partner's family. So I just I really wanted to get everything I needed to do in this studio done before I sort of have to just work on code and do stuff on the laptop without the lights and the camera and all that stuff. So I've got to go through all the how-to guides because the UI has been completely redesigned for CueCam. So I think most of those how-to guides are going to be out of date now. I've got this, my QA process, I've got to run through that at least a couple more times and make sure that a couple of areas that were missed in that process, it was going to take time for all of those to settle in. But notably, there's some minor things that have just come in from all the changes, but notably Shoot's program feed has been wonky for a bit in the beta. And I was testing the video feed, and that was I can turn the phone off, bring it back, quick CueCam, crash it out, come back, and it tends to find it again. But the same wasn't actually true of the program feed, and I've been filming some videos this week and sort of coming up against that. But it should be a pretty easy fix once I sit down on the laptop and I'm not kind of focused on the video production. The new homepage needs doing. New videos, as I say, I've been recording those this week. Now I need to do some editing and do some thumbnails and all that kind of business. I've got to update the welcome email for CueCam. When you subscribe to CueCam, you get some instructions on what to do, which are now completely irrelevant to the beta. So it's all these little nooks and crannies of things that need to be sorted out. I think I want to do a press release once this new version comes out, and then I've got a couple of little secret things that I'm working on that I'm going to sort of reveal when it comes out. So if you want to help, go to cuecam.app/beta. So please grab it, and this is how you file a bug now. Just click in the help menu, go to report bug. It's going to know what version number, it's going to know a couple of things about it, and it's just going to give you a couple of simple text fields. You don't have to go onto Discord. You don't have to do anything yourself, but you'll get an email with a link to the right Discord channel. So you don't have to create the threads yourself anymore. You can just do it through here. And then I'll be able to manage that through my system. Let me just check that I'm seeing if there are any comments. Just checking my Ecamm Live, right. So yeah, that is the updates, and on with the show. Next level remote teaching. So I'm going to be showing off some stuff today that is particular to the beta version of CueCam. So bear that in mind, because it's pretty different to the normal version. Of course, all the new content I'm creating, this came with a blog post if you got the email. So all that new stuff has to be with the new interface. I have not taken the time to have a version number drop down on the website for all this stuff. As tempted as I am, but I'm just having to sort of push this stuff out a little bit ahead. But it just means like this is going to be a nice looking way to do it. And if you do want to follow along, you can just go and get that beta that I mentioned a couple of slides ago, cuecam.app/beta. Right, so let's get started with next level remote teaching. So I think it's time to upgrade. If you're a teacher, right, you've been doing, maybe you've been doing some remote teaching. Maybe that's, you know, I know obviously this isn't full time anymore, but there are those times that you need to teach remotely, or maybe just shoot little bits of content videos for your students, or maybe you actually do permanent like remote tutoring, or maybe like you want to make courses, you know, there's a lot of different ways. If you're, you know, you could be a YouTuber that's really into like educational content, you know, educational content is pretty sticky on YouTube, so like that's quite popular. So, but if you've been doing stuff just on your webcam, then today I'm going to show you some like better ways to work and help you go from like boring, you know, if you're doing stuff on Zoom and you share your screen and you show a deck, like I'm going to show you how to get beyond that into a more engaging webcam-based presentation like I'm doing today for you. So what does it actually mean? So today we're going to go over how to firstly improve how you look on your webcam. So how to get a higher quality picture from the right angle and maintaining eye contact. Number two, we're going to talk about a new type of whiteboard which lets you draw directly on your webcam or create a blank board to draw on. And then number three is a new approach to lesson planning with a focus on like simple planning and then like crystal clear delivery. So what do you need? You are going to need a Mac, ideally Apple Silicon, but anything from the last few years should be fine. An iPhone and an iPad. So like the iPhone and the iPad technically are optional, but I think for the, especially like the iPhone is maybe the most optional if you have a teleprompter and some bigger gear. But like if you've got those three things, you're going to be able to do everything you see. So the software you're going to need is CueCam Presenter. So that's a Mac app which you download directly from the website, cuecam.app. And then Shoot Pro Webcam is on your iPhone and Video Pencil is on your iPad, and both of those are available in the App Store as a free download. So CueCam gives you a single affordable license that unlocks all of these three apps. And also if you have an educational email address, you get a really generous discount on that, because I went to the Education Technology Conference last year and spoke to a few people who were selling sort of like stuff to educators, and just found that it's quite hard to get institutional buy-in for this kind of thing. And most of the time the educators themselves are just like paying for these subscriptions to make their lives a bit easier. So I did a pretty kind of generous discount for students and teachers. So anyone that's, if you've got a .edu or .ac email address, then you can get a pretty heavy discount on CueCam, because I think, like, you know, this is all about learning, and that's the crux of it. So number one, let's talk about how to improve how you look on your webcam. So if you've been using your laptop's built-in camera, as I said, you can do a lot better by using your iPhone's camera. And why is that? Because like iPhones are a camera, right? Like this is a camera that Apple can sell for lots of money. Whereas the laptop, you know, it has that tiny little camera in it. Even these HD, you know, whatever FaceTime cameras, they're just nothing compared to these really beautiful cameras that come in your iPhone. Actually, we're talking about this one here mostly, but like if you look here, it's a different one. But by using your iPhone camera, you're going to get a better image, so it's going to be sharper and clearer, and you're going to get a bit more. The real thing here for me is that you get more flexible placement, so you can place your camera somewhere other than sort of like looking up at you a little bit, which is the least flattering angle you can be on a camera. CueCam Presenter lets you easily use your iPhone as a webcam by working with Shoot Pro Webcam. So this is another app I've made. Good to hear. So I made it. So why wouldn't you use a continuity camera or camo? Well, because Shoot Pro Webcam is more than just a webcam. It also turns your phone into an extra screen and a teleprompter. So more on that shortly. So the first step is, let's talk about setting up Shoot. So how do you use Shoot with CueCam to sort of set yourself up with a virtual camera? You start off by running CueCam Presenter on your Mac. So you'll download it, it'll ask for some permissions, there's a little checklist, you'll get that up and running, you'll maybe reboot. And now you launch CueCam Presenter on your Mac, and then you launch Shoot on the phone. And then what you're going to see in CueCam is, when you go to your camera, down here, you are going to see Shoot as an option right there, as a camera source. And you can actually select which one you want, but I generally tend to I don't know, for some reason, even as the creator, I get a bit nervous kind of choosing these ones. I just think it's just choose the top one, and you don't, because if you choose one of these ones, it's going to switch to the other camera, but that might actually be what you want. So actually you do want the front camera if you want to do the teleprompter stuff, which I think you do, because you want to be able to see the extra screen. So now you're going to put your iPhone on an adjustable stand and try and find the perfect position, which is basically going to be up at eye level. So this is actually here, like this is before I adjusted it actually. So we did end up coming up to be a bit more kind of level with my eyes. And this is a video that's going to come out soon, which is just going to be the basics on this. So you can get your camera level using Shoot's level guide. So this is what you're going to see on the screen until you get it perfectly level. So that's sort of like it kind of sees if you're level this way, as well as this way. So you can just turn that on. That's not going to come through on the feed, but you're going to be able to see it on the phone screen and just like line up your phone perfectly. And you can use CueCam's grid feature to just frame yourself nicely. So here we've got, you know, the office hours global Fenwick frame. You want to get your eyes in the eye line and sort of like your head and chin. I'm a little bit far out on this one, and just sort of be in the center. That's sort of like the best way to get them, you know, to be consistent on zoom and to have a, you know, this is kind of what I'm doing here. And this lets CueCam kind of move content around you a bit more effectively if you're in the middle. You can adjust your iPhone's exposure, color balance, and crop it using CueCam's remote camera control. So you see you've got zoom, EV, shutter speed. You've got the ability to tint, to do like white balance, color temperature. And you can also use the feature, like face follow is a nice feature, but to be honest, you probably don't want to use it for what I'm talking about today. It was something I introduced last year, well, God, it's like 2 years ago, that just lets the phone kind of track your face and sort of like keep your face in the center automatically, and then it also like knows to move it out the side, out the way of cards and stuff. But you don't really need to do that as long as you're kind of, I've just got used to staying in the middle like this, and so now I've kind of like stopped really using that feature. So don't worry about that. But if you just need to adjust the settings or just lock that ISO and shutter speed or whatever, you can do that right here. And basically this is going to give you a much better picture than your laptop camera. It's going to give you more control, and it's also going to unlock some other possibilities. So the second thing we're going to do is add a new type of whiteboard. So how do you do this? You start Video Pencil, which you downloaded before, on your iPad, and it just automatically connects to CueCam and shows you a view of the webcam. So here's the webcam. Well, it's actually like Shoot is coming into here, so that's your webcam, and you see exactly the same thing as on the iPad screen. And what that then lets you do is draw directly, I'm going to draw over the top of it, draw directly on your webcam, and you can see exactly where you're drawing. So that's really cool, but like you can see in this case, I've kind of given you an example where maybe you don't have a backdrop like me and you're still in a room or you've got bookshelves or something behind you. You know, you might not have a perfectly clean environment. Like so for me, like if I'm on this clear background, I can just sort of like start drawing and you know, sort of you know, do my Venn diagram of whatever. But if you don't have that clean background, as you can see here, like there's a bit less clarity of that image. So wouldn't it be nice if you just had a nice clean canvas to draw on? Well, that's easy with CueCam Presenter. You just go down to the share bar and select blank board. So that's this option here. Oops. If we just come down to blank board, yeah, this option here lets you share a blank board. And what does that look like? It looks like this. You get this resizable area. So you see here, like you can see the mouse cursor is in the resize state. So you can make this blackboard wider and narrower and just give yourself as much space as you need to kind of like, I don't know, a squared plus b squared equals whatever. Like I studied physics, I should know more equations, but like I put like E equals mc squared, and then I was like, I really should put the long derivation of E equals mc squared, which I did study at university, but I'd have to look it up, and you know, I was in the middle of shooting the video. But yeah, this also lets you, you know, if you don't want that grey back, so you can sort of choose the grey background, or you can choose from some, you know, some different colours, which I've curated to try and make them sort of nice. But obviously, like, if you are going to choose like a bright pink background, don't draw on it in red or something, or purple, because that's going to be horrible. If you are going to use a colourful background, try and stick with your white ink. But yeah, you can choose any colour with this colour selector here, and you can actually clear the drawing like from the, you know, I just put that in there. You can clear the drawing from the from your desktop. So I will just kind of give you a quick look at that. So we'll jump into demo mode, and this is so here's the share bar down here. I just click here, I go blank board. I can make that wider and out. You see how my camera sort of like, because I'm in the middle, I kind of always stay in the center of the stage. So if I just want to do a small drawing, I can still kind of like be quite big, but we can just drag that over and we can just like try, you know, have a different color. So just to sort of like show you that. So if I did a smiley face in white, I think that's going to look quite nice. But if I went like pink, like, you know, we get some horrible color clashes. So try and like, you know, bear your color theory in mind when you're working with this. So that's the blank board. So the third thing I wanted to talk about today was a new approach to lesson planning. So now that you look good on camera, it's time to unlock Shoot's teleprompter feature. But first we're going to need a script, right? How do you have a teleprompter without a script? You kind of need to know what you're saying to the camera. If you don't know what a teleprompter is, by the way, I don't want to assume anything. It's basically you can see the words that you need to say like in line with the camera, so that you're maintaining eye contact with the camera as you talk. So I'm actually like reading off a teleprompter now. Well, not right now because I'm ad-libbing, but usually I'm like seeing my notes on the teleprompter, but they're kind of right in front of the lens. So when I'm reading, I'm actually looking at you. So in CueCam, to make a new document, just go to the File menu, go New, or Command N, or you know, that's another way to do it. So what is a CueCam script? A CueCam script is a sequence of cue cards. So each card can be as minimal as a note that reminds you what to talk about. So you're the expert, you just need to remember what order you're going to be talking about things in. Or it can be a carefully worded paragraph that you need to speak verbatim. And then it can be anything in between. So sometimes I'll just sort of like put some loose notes for myself. I'll remember, talk about that 4K thing today, and you know, I just ad lib. But sometimes I want to keep things super tight, like my intros and outros, and like go here for more information, like calls to action, things like this. Isn't education oriented, this is a bit more salesy. But if you did have very precise wording, very precise language, you can put that in there so that you're not like trying to remember. Like, it's just a way to make everything a bit more fluid. And then this is what a script looks like for a lesson. So as I mentioned, so this is your script. It just sits down the side, and you can, each of those is a cue card. I'm even going to just like change this spotlight to be even darker. So I want to be like super dark with everything that's not what we're talking about. So there's the script. And what you have is, these are the words that are going to show up in your teleprompter, right there. So this, and then this is probably about the most text that you're going to want to have, because in your when you look, so this is like your face, right? You're looking at the camera. The camera is, well, if you were using a teleprompter, the camera would be there, but as I'll show you in a minute, it's a bit different for Shoot. But you don't want more than about that much text, because otherwise, you know, you could see, like, if the text is taking up like the whole screen, then you're going to end up like, okay, today we're going to talk about this, and this is the thing, and your eyes are going to be like moving loads, whereas you really want to sort of like be kind of in the middle, sort of this area, just so that you're sort of like, you're not, and that's kind of how my teleprompter works. I try and keep it in the middle. And of course, like, it depends how far you are from the camera as well. So if you're further away from the camera, you can get away with the text being bigger. So when you see TV productions with teleprompter being used, teleprompters being used, you're going to see the text is really big, but that's because the camera is further away. So it sort of takes the same space in their field of view. But because we're using the camera as a monitor, just to, because we're the, you know, we haven't got a producer, it's just me. I'm going to just make that sort of relatively small in the frame, so it doesn't sort of go too beyond where my eyes or your eyes might be as seen through the camera. So When you press Start in that toolbar, so I'll just remind you where that is. So we've got a Start button. There's a lot of other buttons, which I am going to like touch on briefly. There's a Start button up there. So when you press that, what happens? You enter presenter mode. So you're then able to step through your cue cards by either just clicking anywhere or by using the left and right arrow keys. And I have a big Stream Deck, but I'm actually quite liking the keyboard control of presenter mode in the new version because the keyboard is so much, like the Stream Deck is quite loud. Listen. It's quite a clunk when you hit the Stream Deck button, whereas if I hit the keyboard, you can hardly hear it. So I've sort of been quite liking the keyboard. It just means you have to have the window in focus when you're doing it. And sometimes I'm in a different window. But anyway, so what you're going to see is you're going to see your preview of what's going out there. And then you're going to see your current card, and then you're going to see a little preview of what's coming up next. And you can see what card that is, 1 of 3. Next card is 2 of 3. So you get a little bit of information, and then there's a window there you can get for your teleprompter, but don't worry about that just now, because we're just going to be using Shoot for that. Because more importantly, now that you've set up Shoot, as I showed you just now, you're going to see your speaker notes on the iPhone, right? So here are those speaker notes that we just had in speaker mode. So if we go back, there are the notes, but they're actually showing up right here. So this is where the camera is. So I've done my best to line up with different devices' cameras, but like Apple doesn't really give you any information about where the camera is in the device. So I've just had to do it on like known devices, and hopefully there's no surprises. But if that doesn't line up, you can just like drag it with your finger up and down. And if the text is a bit small, you can just pinch. If you just like pinch on the screen, it's going to like increase the size of that text so that you can see it a bit better. Here I've got it relatively small, but if it's further away, you might want to make it a bit bigger. So this means you can see your speaker notes on your iPhone screen right next to the camera, which gives you better eye contact than most people are going to have, and you didn't need to buy any extra equipment. So that's how you're going to deliver scripts you've created with CueCam. You're going to like write them up in CueCam as a script, and then you're going to deliver them on the phone to start with. So you may have noticed there's a lot more things you can add to scripts. So you can create slides with, sort of like the text drop down has, titles and bullet points and quotations. And you'll have seen those as I've gone through this deck today, like a full screen update thing. You can do some different colors and text and all that kind of thing. You can add images. So yeah, that's something you're going to want to do as a teacher. Bring in supporting images. And that's what I'm doing here. Bringing in those supporting images, and we are on the beta, and I'm just seeing that I don't like that my picture-in-picture keeps disappearing, so that's another bug for me to fix on the beta. But you can create slides, share images. If you want to cut to a video clip, you can. If you want to cut to a second camera, so I use a big DSLR for my webcam, but I love having Shoot available if I just want to show something from above. So if I wanted to show you what's going on in this room, I would just fire up Shoot, it would start working. You can see we've got the program feed on there, and I could sort of turn on the back camera here and then just go to my share bar in Shoot, which is set to blank bold. But if I go to that, I can actually show you kind of what we're dealing with here. Let me go to the wider. Oh, it is on the wider camera. I think it's zoomed in. And this is kind of what we're looking at right now, which is like I've got the big teleprompter, I've got a couple of big lights, and I've got the Stream Deck and all that kind of thing. So that is just invaluable. And if you wanted an overhead camera, that's really invaluable. But for what we're doing here, sorry, there's so many next levels to this that I just get really excited, which is why I'm trying to keep today super simple and focused on teaching. Because there's so many things, and of course you can share your screen as well, right? Unlocks a lot of things. But when you're starting out, it's important to map out the key things that you want to talk about just as text, just on cue cards, right? Don't get carried away like this, because I think if you fall into that trap of like trying to design a PowerPoint deck and put loads of text on this, I think you end up creating quite boring presentations because you end up like mixing the speaker notes and the the sort of content, the stuff that's going to be up, gets mixed in with what you want to say. And really, if you start with what you want to say, then you can keep the stuff that you're going to put up to the bare minimum, right? And this is really the key to CueCam. This is really the key to a good presentation. So work with the goal of keeping yourself and maybe your virtual whiteboard, like, so you can draw, you can hold your iPad. The nice thing is it's all wireless, so you can sort of step back and like draw with your iPad. Mine's tethered. I know better than to unplug anything on USB when I'm in midstream after what happened last week. But yeah, you want to keep yourself nice and big as much as possible, and only use images and little short video clips where necessary. Because, you know, like, people want to sort of see you, see your passion, see that, you know, see that you know what you're talking about. And I think like it's a lot more fluid to be sketching stuff and just on camera and like have your notes right there so that you can keep on track really well. So in summary, what did we learn about today? We learned how to do, 1, a better webcam by using Shoot as your camera. 2, a better whiteboard, which we did by using your iPad with Video Pencil and being able to bring out a blank board. Sorry, you know why I'm hesitating, because there's a bug with how it shows the bullet point information in CueCam that if you do the non-standard bullet points, it can't do a thing, which is why I'm having to like remember some stuff. So number 3, we learnt about lesson planning, how to create scripts in CueCam Presenter and run and deliver them without losing eye contact using Shoot's built-in teleprompter. So as I've said, this is really just the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with CueCam Presenter. But if you have a Mac, you can give it a try for free right now, and that's at cuecam.app/download. So with that, that's our presentation today. So if you are interested in this sort of thing, you can come and find us on Discord. There's over 300 people in there right now. So, well, not right now, but like members, I think it's like 350 maybe. So you can get help on this stuff even when I'm asleep, and that's a big deal with time zones. You can tell I'm in the UK, but lots of people are in the US, Canada, Australia. Like, I've actually like, I was sort of doing my VAT return today, and I saw I have a user in the Maldives, so that was a new one for me today. So I've got people just in like dozens of countries using this stuff. So like we should, you know, that you should be able to find someone that's awake when you need help. And that, yeah, that's at squares.tv/discord. So squares.tv is where this stuff all evolved from. This is where I started experimenting and ultimately landing on this CueCam Presenter. So to play us out this week, I am going to show you a live demo that I recorded in 2014. So that's 11 years ago. That I used to get gigs when I was living in Berlin and when my hair wasn't white. So I'll just play like 3 minutes of me like playing with some gadgets. And I really feel like this was the start of my journey to this, well, actually, probably even before that. I want to sort of talk about this a bit more, but I really feel like there's a lot of people doing really interesting stuff, but the internet never gets to find out about it because you need good photography in order, you know, in order to create videos, in order to have good videos showing what you're doing. Like, there's this whole photography and videography aspect to it, and audio quality that, you know, smartphones have made it a lot easier, and you see a lot of interesting stuff on TikTok, but actually to record a good bit of footage of you doing something cool is like really difficult when you're already doing something that's difficult because you're doing something cool. So I put on a lot of artists, and in the 2013 I put on a lot of people on these live shows, and I was filming with my camera. It was just terrible on my phone, and that sort of got me down the path of thinking, God, do I have to start buying photography software, hardware as well as music gear? And I sort of started learning about all this stuff. I started live streaming, I started talking, I started playing music on stream, and that was 10 years ago, and I started using OBS right back then. And so that's sort of been my journey from just trying to show my music and my friends' music on the internet to kind of finding professionals and educators and all the different kinds of people that have the same problem. And that's where CueCam Presenter, I feel like, is the culmination of all that work. So let's go and see 2014 Michael Forrest. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've kept it relatively quick. I hope you don't get bored. See you next time.